Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Living Large Las Vegas. My name is Kobe Sherlock, and today, back in the lab, my beautiful wife, Miss Jane Sherlock.
What's up, y'all?
Guys, today we're bringing somebody pretty cool from Henderson right here in our community to connect with you. Really taking a bird's eye view, if you will, really bringing it down from the sky. I want to hear a lot about Mr. Paul Sallach with All In Aviation. Paul, say hello to everyone.
Hello, you're ready to go all in, huh?
That's it, man. I'm going to go all in on everything you're up to. Like, first off, I really appreciate you coming to sit down with us.
Of course, yeah. I love being local and happy to share everything that we do.
We had a chance to sit down briefly at a breakfast recently, the governor's breakfast.
Yep.
Got the chance to pick your brain a little bit, and when I found out that you're, killing it in the skies and in the pilot game, I wanted to know more about you, man. So thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. I've had the fortune of traveling all over the country and going to airports everywhere, and it's really been a fun thing to build something here right in Henderson. So I'm excited to share it with you guys.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
Yeah, so grew up in Canada, and then moved to Pennsylvania for my high school years, and decided that I want to be in the sky. So looked for the best university for aviation that I could find, and went to University of North Dakota. And that's probably where most people don't find that they want to go to college, but it's got a really good aviation program up there, and went to be a commercial airline pilot in '99. And after I got $100,000 in student loan debt, the World Trade Centers came crumbling down. So there was very quickly no airline jobs to be had. So just down the road from North Dakota is where these airplanes are made that are called Cirrus airplanes, and no one had heard of them at the time. So I went there and became a flight instructor to teach people how to fly the brand new airplanes. So that was sort of my entry into aviation. It was a fun gig. I got to be a demo pilot and fly all over the country, deliver brand new airplanes, and just see different airports and different customers, and ultimately decided that I want to sell airplanes for a living is what I came to the realization. So came to Vegas to do that, and that was in 2009, right after the economy sort of went in the toilet. So no one was buying new airplanes at the time. So I decided that I should become the used guy.
Your timing, man.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes the world forces your hand, right? So came here and sold pre-owned airplanes from '08 until today. I still do that to this very day. But what I found here in Las Vegas that was lacking was somebody to take care of the customer after the plane was sold, or somebody that could offer some instructional services or some training for an aircraft. That was a higher end aircraft, something that was not the 40-year-old beat up airplane that you typically get used to at most airports. So we decided to start All In Aviation and have one airplane up at North Las Vegas and one instructor, and fast forward to where we are today. And we've got 21 airplanes, wow, 26 hangars at the Henderson Airport. And we can jump into each and any of those that you want, but that's sort of the quick version.
Man, that's incredible. Thank you for sharing. That's quite the journey. To go from 1 to 20 some odd here in Vegas. And I know I love it. All the events we go to, when folks talk about your space, the first thing that comes up is, 1, obviously airplanes, 2, coolest office space on the planet. It's like the Google for airspace. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about your area and kind of what the layout is?
So if you come to my office, I have a little pin map that is every airport that I've ever landed at. And it's almost 1,000 airports. And I got the unique opportunity to see all these cool things all over the country that I was like, man, one day, if I ever build something, I want to do this. I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. So then when the time came to build your own, you're like, all right, I can actually make these dreams a reality. So clean sheet design, you get to build what you want. And you got to come see if you haven't already. But things like putting a wing conference room table and having a big office to showcase some of the cool stuff that we've got. But more importantly, to make sure that our customers have a white carpet, sort of white glove, red carpet sort of experience where they're treated like the very important people.
Truly an extraordinary experience being in your facility. I have you to thank for one of the coolest Facebook cover photos of all time.
Amen.
In one of your planes with the big American flag in the background.
Yep.
Total Top Gun vibes. I highly recommend, if you haven't visited All In Aviation, you take a tour. So
Well, you saw that big American flag. Next time that you come, I've got a new little surprise that we're working on right now. So these airplanes that we primarily fly are Cirrus airplanes, and there's a parachute safety system that can be deployed if there's an emergency, and it floats the whole plane down to the ground. It's really hard to conceptualize. You go, what do you mean? Like a parachute's just going to float this plane down to the ground? So yes, that's exactly what it does. I got my hands on a parachute that Cirrus was so kindly they gave me, actually, and we were displaying it on the back wall of our second hangar, so that you walk down one, you see the American flag. You walk down the second, you're going to see a deployed parachute
Awesome.
that takes the entire hangar. It's
So cool.
It's going to be really cool.
That's incredible. You know, for your customers to have that experience coming in, and I'd love to hear about it. Will you share a little bit about what that customer experience looks like when they come to a space like yours and connect with you?
Yeah, so we really have two types of customers. So we have a career-oriented customer, somebody that wants to make aviation their job, right? And then we have sort of the aspirational type customer, somebody that has always wanted to be a pilot. They didn't have the time or the money, and now they have the time and the money, and they want to check the bucket list. So we want to make sure that we cater to both both customers. And the experience could be different for them, but we feel that it's really important that everybody gets, the all-in experience all of the time. So if you're going to make a career out of it and you're going to learn to fly at All In Aviation, it's going to be a pinnacle experience. And just little things like your plane is going to be cleaned, it's going to have fuel, you're going to have a cold water, there's going to be a red carpet for you. We have nice individualized briefing rooms where you're going to get to go one-on-one with your instructor. You're not thrown into this meeting room with a few partitions and everybody hears what everybody else is doing. It's very much one-on-one experience, so that we're catering to what's important to you, and ultimately making sure that we're meeting your goals. So that's really what we're trying to do differently than everybody else, to provide catered flight training.
I love that. With some of the changes and even challenges, right, in the aviation space, commercial specifically, we've had over the last years, have you seen any shifts in your students, or any, I should say, intentions from your students as they come into your space?
Yes, I'd be lying if I said that there wasn't a change. What's unique is that a lot of people are coming to us right out of high school.
Wow.
And going, I'm going to make a career out of this. I'm just going to skip college. Right nowadays, a lot of parents are looking at saying $50,000 a year to go to like a state school. This is crazy, right? Versus I could go to a place like All In Aviation, pay, let's say it's $85,000 to become zero to hero, to become a flight instructor. And you get that done in 18 months, and then you're plugged into a career in year 2, versus at college, you still got 2 years left, and then maybe you'll get a job that may or may not exist, So we're seeing a lot more of that, a lot more people that are like, instead of sending my kid to this college, I'm just going to keep them local here. I'm going to make sure that they get really good training and really nice facilities and really nice aircraft. And we're seeing more and more of that. So that's probably the biggest change that I've noticed recently.
That's interesting. And that's been a conversation across all of our schools, especially here in Southern Nevada, on how can we plug students and be career ready and have those opportunities if college isn't the pathway for them. To your point on that, is there opportunity with the Air Base being here for military partnership? What does that look like? Have you explored it?
Absolutely, yeah. We participate in the Skill Bridge program. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but anybody that's transitioning from a military career into a civilian career, oftentimes there's some learning. There's a difference of how things are done. So the Skill Bridge program, in the last 6 months of their active duty, they can come and work for a civilian company, where the military is still paying their salary for those 6 months, and they're working for me or somebody like me that's approved through the program. I will say we just got this like 3 months ago, so it's something that I have heard from other parts of the country where they're participating in that. So we're hoping that it's going to be something that's beneficial for us as well.
Man, I love that. I got one of my best friends, and I'm sure he's going to watch this one. He's a pilot for Delta now. He's a captain in Delta. I love him dearly. He took me up in the sky a few times.
Okay.
We don't have to talk about that, but
Why not?
what I love is...
I told him a little bit about the story earlier. So.
Oh, man, I was not born to be a pilot. But Justin, one cool thing that he did, and that's why it inspired me to ask, is I remember he would go down to Pensacola and help train pilots, but also very similar to what you're sharing, help them transition back. And I think that's really cool that you're doing that it's a great service for the vets and for the active military participants.
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm an honorary squadron commander for one of the squadrons up at Nellis, the 706th.
That's good.
So yeah, we try to make ourselves engaged as much as we can with the aviation community and ultimately the local community. So anything that we think there's a benefit to them, to us, and we can help one another, we're trying to get on board.
What kind of do you intend to have any sort of community events or anything that connect with the community to learn more about what you're doing?
Absolutely. In fact, we just had one, maybe 9 months ago, the Henderson Chamber of Commerce, the HDA board. We hosted, I forget what they called it, but it was a meet and greet where I gave a presentation about what's happening at the Henderson Airport, just some stats on, what it's doing for the community. Because most people don't realize that there's an airport in Henderson, right? They know about the main airport that you fly in and out of on the airlines, but this is a very active general aviation airport right here in our backyards. So yeah, we try to engage in that way with the chamber. We have an open house once a year that's open to anybody. That's normally in April or May, so we're not outside baking it,
Cooking out there.
the summer heat. And then we just do things with, like the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, that sort of stuff. But the public one, April-ish, is our yearly open house. Our own calendar.
I will, man. Sign me up for eating Girl Scout cookies in the sky.
Oh, there you go. We do that.
That's
So some of the ambassadors at the Henderson Chamber of Commerce said that was the best HDA event that they had ever been to. So kudos to you and your team. And sadly, we had a conflict that night, so we couldn't make it. And I was having major FOMO because it looked awesome. But I just think it's so cool that you guys are here, and I'm proud that you are part of our business community here. Can you tell us a little bit about the benefits to a business person about, being a pilot?
Sure. Yeah, so that aspirational person that I talked about, right? That's the person that I'm ultimately probably going to sell an airplane to, or that type of customer. So there's a ton of tax benefits to aircraft ownership, and the biggest one is depreciation. You guys in real estate probably know all about depreciation of homes, but airplanes you can depreciate basically in the first year that you buy it. So people that are looking for some accelerated tax write-offs, an aircraft allows you to do that. So that's probably the single biggest motivator for business people to get into aviation, is just for tax savings. But more importantly, though, is that if they're doing business regionally, it's really difficult to travel around. Let's just use the example of if you're here and you have business in Palm Springs, right? If you want to do business in Palm Springs, you're either driving, right, which is a 4-hour drive, or you're going to fly the airlines and you have to connect somewhere. There's no nonstop flight, right? So it's basically a 4-hour airline flight or a 4-hour drive, versus if you're a pilot, you could be there in one of our airplanes in 50 minutes. So you could take your kids to school, hop in the airplane, go have your meeting, do your lunch, do your appointments that you have, get back home in time for dinner or the sports game or whatever it might be. So that's probably the biggest benefit to aviation, is getting some quality time back.
I'm in. Sign me up for this.
In California for all of our California clients, and make it back for dinner.
I just want to say this is recording, and you just agreed to let me buy a plane.
Amen.
I'm in.
Well, tell me, you said 21 aircrafts, I think, right? And so are they all Cirrus? And can you share a little bit about the maybe differences in price ranges?
Sure. So we used to be exclusively Cirrus.
Okay.
Cirrus has 3 models of aircraft. There's the SR-20 model that is primarily used for training, and then there's a higher horsepower version as well as a turbocharged version. What we were finding is that people that were the career-oriented sort of customers, they were a little bit more cost conscious, right? How much is this going to cost? Because the Cirrus is it's the nicest airplane. It's the number one selling airplane in the world, and our airplanes are pretty much brand new. We make sure that our fleet is recycled every 3 years. So our oldest airplane is 4 years old. So these are high-end, very nice aircraft. So we have 17 of those, 17 Cirruses. And then when we wanted to complement that by having a lower cost alternative, we purchased some Cessna 172s, which is sort of the staple in aviation. But we didn't want to just get, like many flight schools have old, cheap, inexpensive aircraft. We really wanted to make sure that they were still high technology. So everything has a Garmin, computer screen display, still have autopilot, things like that, leather interior. So we make sure that we cater to a nicer, aircraft platform.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know, for me, that was the first one I got in was a Cessna. The next one was a King Air.
Okay.
And both were really cool. I think they were older, you know, compared to what they have nowadays. So I'm gonna have to come over and visit for sure. I want to see what they're throwing up in the sky now. That sounds awesome.
You got to do it at the controls.
I mean, we got to send Eric Buck over there too.
I was thinking that.
You know?
Like, because Paul also rides planes too.
Okay.
So Eric, we can just throw Eric on. He can take us down to the Grand Canyon.
I mean, I'm in.
I mean, that is really, you know, if you don't want to buy your own airplane, a lot of people go, man, I don't want to spend, you know, $1 million on an airplane. How about I rent one for $500 an hour? And that's what we do, right? So we're offering that $1 million airplane for $500 an hour. So that trip to Palm Springs that I said is 50 minutes, you're 50 minutes there, 50 minutes back, a little bit of taxiing time. So let's call it 2 hours, right? So it's $1,000 round trip. And if it's a business appointment and you're taking maybe your team, right? You put 3 people in the airplane, it's cheaper than an airline in a lot of instances. Definitely not cheaper than gas, but you know, the time that you're getting back is really where the business people go. There's no other way to do business.
Yeah. I mean, it's phenomenal. In mortgages, I'm thinking, how can I leverage this? I need rates to come down a little bit, and then we'll see what's possible.
Well, I know my husband's thinking, man, I got to do this.
Yeah.
Can you share with the listeners like what that programming looks like? And
Yeah.
To become a pilot?
Yeah.
Yep. So there's several different types of pilots, but the ones that are going to do aspirational type flying is a private pilot. It's where you want to be able to fly privately, take your family, take your friends. You're not charging somebody to go somewhere, right? This is just you want to take someone. So to get through that is probably about a 3 to 4 month process if you're giving it 2 to 3 days per month. Okay. So the way that our typical customer looks is they say, hey, I want to show up at 6 a.m. And I have a 3-hour appointment. And in that 3 hours, half of it's going to be spent in the air, half of it's going to be spent talking about what you're going to do or debriefing what you just did. Right. So it's a 3-hour sort of commitment. Then they go to work, 9 o'clock, they're at the office. And then a couple days later, they're doing it over again. That timeline basically plays out to be about 4 months, maybe 5 months. It seems like there's never the perfect every week. I do it 3 times a week. But if you could, you would get it done in 4 to 5 months.
Outside of, I want to dig into you a little bit because as I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, your energy's awesome. I love that you're inspired by what you're doing. I feel your passion for it.
Yeah.
Outside of aviation, what else do you like to do?
I love hockey. I would say that I'm probably the Golden Knights' biggest fan.
That's good.
I was born in Canada, and I've lived when Wayne Gretzky was there. I was in Edmonton, so I grew up as a little kid watching Wayne Gretzky. Went to school in North Dakota, so hockey is definitely what I would say is my passion. I like golfing. I'm a bad golfer, but I like it anyways. I just like being outside, hanging out with 3 other people, and having really nothing else to distract you. I think that's in our world, everything happens so fast and so all-consuming that when you're outside with just your friends, I think that's really what I appreciate the most.
Yeah, I mean, I love golf. I'm horrible at it. My coach will be proud one day. I don't know, maybe not.
I don't know who has more trophies.
And back to aviation.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have to play golf sometime.
Yeah,
I'd love to, connect with you and hear more about what you're up to and what your vision is. And let me hear that. I heard you say 1 hangar to 26.
Yeah.
What's next?
Oh my goodness gracious. So of those 26 hangars, we have a wait list that probably amounts for about 5 years worth of people waiting.
Wow.
So what I would like to do next is to have more hangars. That sounds easy. It's not that easy to do, but that's probably the next thing I would like to work on is building more hangars. And then right now we currently we don't do any maintenance ourselves. We source to a third party to do all of our aircraft maintenance. So at some point, that's my next sort of goal is to take care of our own airplanes.
I love that. So all of my Middle Tennessee State students out there that worked in aircraft mechanics, I got a guy.
You do.
You
will anyway.
I will. Paul, tell me this. You've created something special. Being an entrepreneur, bringing that drive, obviously the follow through on what's happening with your vision and bringing it to life. What would you say to some of the younger entrepreneurs out there that are chasing a dream? What would you leave them with and what your experience has been?
What has worked for me is it's got to be obvious. To me, it was so obvious that nobody was doing anything and we were accepting it to be just that's the way that it is. So it was something that I really don't know how to put my finger on it or what to say, but it was just like, if it's in your face, like, just take it on and go do it, because no one else is going to be doing it. And then make sure that you're all in on it, right? You can't just tiptoe into things. Once you identify a need, make sure that you're doing everything in your power to execute on it. So that's my words of wisdom, if that counts.
It counts for sure. I appreciate you sharing. If the listeners and the viewers want to get in touch or contact, what's the best way for them to connect with All In and with you?
Yep. So we're on Instagram and Facebook are probably our two best ways. So All In Aviation. Myself personally, my phone number is everywhere on the internet. So if you want to buy a plane, my phone number is readily available. So you can just look up Paul Sallach, interact with us at any way that is appropriate for you.
I look forward to it, man. We are absolutely going to take our party over to Paul's at All In Aviation. I'm all in. I know you're all in. Henderson's all in. Paul, thank you so much for coming and sharing. I look forward to sharing this story. And we'll see you at All In Aviation hanging out in the hangar.